My next guest returns to action against Tresean Gore, UFC 330, August 15th. That is right around the corner. Always great catching up with Vicente Luque here on the program. Vicente, how you doing, man?
I'm great, man. Always good to be here, and yeah, excited for my next fight.
Yeah, and we're excited to see you on this card, man. It's going to be a fun one. Nice turnaround from the last fight. You get the big win in the last one against Gaslam, and now here you are fighting Tresean Gore. When did you find out? How much notice did you get for this fight?
Well, it's been a while since I known. I think I'm not sure right now, but at least over a month already.
Oh, perfect.
So I've been preparing really, really good for this fight and studied my opponent and just have a planned out the camp perfect for this fight and very excited.
Yeah, no, it should be good. Were there any other opponents in the mix, or was it just one of those things they booked you for this card and they said Tresean Gore, and you're like, yeah, let's do it?
I mean, not any, there were no other opponents for this fight. I was kind of talking to Ali, letting him know like when I wanted to fight, and he was doing his thing with the UFC, kind of planning that out. And then he got back to me with this opponent for this specific date, and for me it was perfect. I think it's a big card, it's a huge card. It's right on the time frame I was looking to fight, and it's an exciting opponent. Trajan is an up and comer. He puts on exciting fights, and that's the kind of fight I like to be in.
Now, with that said, and I totally agree with you, I think the matchup's going to be great as far as the style, but you're a little bit surprised you're fighting him. You just beat Kelvin Gastelum. That was a pretty big win, and I kind of figured you might get a bigger name, and I know you'll fight anyone, but did that surprise you a little bit, just that they didn't give you someone a bit more notable?
I mean, I don't think it's a surprise. I think that I'm always gonna push for the biggest fights possible.
Mhm.
That's what I want as a competitor. I want to, move all the way up. And right now, with so many years in the UFC, I want to do it as quick as possible. So yeah, I mean, I definitely wanted somebody up there, but I think it's a great matchup. I think that I got to focus right now on going there and getting a big win. And a big win over a guy like Trejan will set me up, plus the win I had with Gastelum. I just want to make this year the year of transition to the middleweight division, a statement. I want to get in there and just show the whole division in the UFC that, I'm not in this division as a mistake, but I'm here to stay and to have a big impact.
Yeah, well said. And now that you've had a chance to kind of look him up, how do you feel like stylistically you match up against him here?
I think it's a very exciting fight. Gore is a guy that he doesn't back down. He loves striking and he loves going toe to toe with anybody that stands in front of him. And that's, in a way, kind of something that I like as well. I think that I have developed, through the years, a lot of skill to be there. So it's not only, I'm not only tough, but I also have a lot of tools to keep me, let's say, an advantage when it comes to that exchange of fire. So I think that's something I like a lot about this fight. It's interesting because he has a lot of wins by submission, even though he doesn't look for the grappling as much. It ends up transitioning over there, and that's how I get many of my submissions as well. So I think that it's interesting. We have similar styles, but overall, I think that my experience is what I have going for me, and just competing at the highest level. I think that when I see him as a fighter, I have a lot of tools to try to put him in a situation where he's not going to be so comfortable, and I could take advantage of it.
Yeah, you kind of took my next question. Experience wise, not only in actual fights you have way more than him, but I mean, this has been the way throughout your entire career. You fought sort of the who's who. You've been in there with some really good competitors, some really good opposition. You talked about the style matchup it benefiting, but just what about like the fact that you've been in there with some of the top guys where he's fought some good opponents, but not to the level that you fought. How much will that play into this fight? Do you think?
I think that's a big factor in this fight and in any fight that I am in because I know what I've been through all my career. I mean, ups and downs, crazy fights. I've overcome very hard situations in fights and even outside of fighting. So I think that all that kind of adds uh, to me as a fighter and to my skill in there. I know that every time I step in there, it's not only going to be what I'm going to do as a fighter, in a strategy wise, because that's always going to be, dialed in, but also I can push myself to my limit and go that extra mile to get the win if it becomes hard. If we come to a hard situation, I know that I can push and that I can go to the extremes to get that win. So I think that that definitely counts in my favor. And I'm always going to be looking to put him in a bad situation, in a bad spot where he's going to be uncomfortable. And I think that, my experience can get me through this.
Take me through camp a bit. Who have been some of the main training partners that are helping you get ready for this fight?
So for this fight, I've worked with a lot of guys. I think that Buddha is gonna be with me there fight week. He's he's starting right now. He's doesn't get so many fights, but he's very talented. He's a guy that has been helping me a lot for this, and I really appreciate what he's done. I think that in the future you guys are gonna hear about him. And also Andrea. Andrea is he's Serbian. I'm not gonna know how to pronounce. I think it's Stankovic, his
Okay.
last name, and he's a really tough kickboxer, very strong, very powerful. And he's fights mostly in Europe. He has had some fights here in the US, but he fights a lot in Europe. And yeah, these two guys are the main guys that I've been working specifically for this fight. But everybody in Kill Cliff, so much talent over there, and yeah, I've been working with everyone, and yeah, overall, I think that there's no better place to have a training camp than here with Henry, with all the coaches, with all the athletes, and now right now I think middleweight is the division that we have so many guys here in the team, so yeah, it's really good.
Good to hear. Yeah, I was going to ask too, because obviously I'm from Canada. I know Marc-Andre Barrios there. I know Aaron Jeffrey comes up sometimes to train, but sounds like you didn't get to work with them this camp, or did you? I wasn't sure.
I did train a little bit with Mark when he was getting ready for his fight, but
Okay.
it ended up not working
Yeah,
out.
that's
So
right. Brad
because
Tavares.
of
Yeah, I
that,
remember
yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, so because of that, I kind of didn't work with him anymore because I'm not sure what he's gonna do right now. If he's gonna look for another fight or just stay ready.
Mhm.
But I ended up, working with a lot of guys. Like somebody that was here is Imavov.
Oh,
He's
awesome. Yeah, I
been
did see
here
that.
for a while. Yeah, and man, sparring with that guy and working in general with him. He's a great fighter, as everybody knows. So much skill, but he's a really nice guy too. A great training partner. He knows how to go hard, but without there are some people that don't know how to go hard. If they go hard, we're gonna end up getting hurt or something like that. But he knows how to go at that right point where we could go really hard, but nobody's gonna get hurt, nobody's gonna get injured, and we are able to really put it on in training. So yeah, he's a great athlete and a great training partner.
Yeah, and one of the best, and in my opinion, should be fighting for the title next. I assume that's what they're doing, unless give it to Chimaev. I was going to ask you though, is it tough with the language barrier? I know his English isn't the best. How do you deal with that when you have a training partner who doesn't speak a lot of English?
I mean, his English has been much better now, so I
Okay,
think he's practicing it. I don't know if he's having class or
he
not,
might
but
be. Yeah,
we manage. I mean, here in Killcliff, we got people from all over the world,
yeah.
so we just manage, how to find a way to communicate.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously, we mentioned that they're the big thing with this fight as well. Another fight at middleweight. This is your new division. How's the weight cut going, and how different is it than cutting to 170?
Man, it's so much better,
I can tell with the
and I
smile on
think
your
that
face, man.
yeah,
Yeah.
yes. I think that the big thing for me is I've been so many years in the UFC and I've changed. When I got into the UFC, I was 23 years old, fighting at 170, and my weight probably was around 186, 187. And through the years, training, developing, my body also started to change, and more, it became a harder weight cut. And I don't know, maybe because I just try to work through everything. I'm disciplined. I would always make weight. That's not something that I think I would ever fail. But I started to realize for the last couple of years, maybe 3 years, my performance in training wasn't the same.
Mhm.
My the way I just the last 3 weeks of training camp was always I was struggling. I was always sore and I didn't recover. And I went to training and was like an effort to get out of bed and go train. but in my mind, it was like, okay, I've been doing this for so many years. That's just how it is. So I'll just get through it. And then once I finally decided to move up a weight class and I had my last training camp for the fight against Gastelum, that's when I really realized how much my body was suffering, how much I was, damaging my body because of the weight cut. I had such a great training camp with Gastelum. My last 3 weeks were my best weeks of training where I could push hard, where I could really, feel so confident in training, and that translated to the fight. So yeah, I think that after 11 years in the UFC, it was a necessary change right now. I think that I grew as a fighter, but also as a human being in the UFC. I got in so young, so my body is developing, and I just have much more muscle now. It's a very different structure right now for me to still make 170. It was really hard.
Yeah, no, it's good. Does any part of you wish you would have moved up sooner? Kind of looking at how much success you had in that last fight and camp. And again, we see the smile on your face, and it's a lot easier. Not as much focus on camp, I imagine, with the weight cut.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, right now, if I knew everything that I know now, I would have definitely moved sooner. But I think that I don't know. I was holding on to certain things, right? I was in the rankings at welterweight, and I still had the dream of maybe finding a way to get back to the top. So all these things, I think that kind of like I got stuck to that too much
Mm.
instead of just looking forward and saying, hey, maybe this move of division, this is where my next big thing in the UFC is gonna be. So instead of just being stuck with what I had done in the past, I should have let that behind and just move forward. But the time came and now I'm here. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it all worked out. What about your corner? Who's going to be making the trip with you to Philly? Who will be in the cage with you?
So for my corner, Henry was
Yeah.
always there. We got Sean Soriano. He's
Oh,
here. He
nice.
he works with us. Yeah, he's gonna be there as well because we have Esteban fighting
Yeah.
in that card as well. And I'm gonna have Luis. He's my wrestling coach. He's from Brazil. When I lived in Brazil, all the time that I had in Serrato MMA, about 9 years, he's been my coach over there. And now I'm bringing him. I brought him for my last fight. I brought him now for this fight as well. So he's going to be there with me as well. And I'm going to have Buddha over there helping me with, training and just warm me up for the fight and all that. So, yeah, those are going to be the guys. Uh, Gregory would be there, but he's going to fight a week
That's right.
after
Anthony
me.
Hernandez. Yeah, in
So,
Sacramento.
yes. So he's got to get ready for his fight. So he's not going to be there. I might be there for his fight. That's the plan.
Okay.
So yeah, we're excited. That's another big thing, having him and me getting ready for the fights so close. That's just motivating for each other.
Well said. How's this fight playing out on August 15th? How do you see it unfolding?
Man, I think it's gonna be an amazing fight. Definitely a lot of action. And whenever I step in there, I see myself getting a finish. So that's what I can say. I think that I'm gonna get that finish and I'm gonna chase that finish. I don't know if it's gonna come quick or if it's gonna be a long fight, but I'm ready for any kind of fight that he brings.
Love it. Who's winning the main event of your card? Your old division, Islam, and a guy that you were supposed to fight a while back in Ian Garry. And I don't know if you guys have trained together, but how do you see that fight playing out with Islam and Ian Garry?
Yeah, me and Ian, we trained a lot when he was at Killcliff. After that, we didn't train anymore. But I've watched his fights. He's developed a lot, especially on the grappling side. He's always been a great striker, but he has developed his grappling, and I think it's a tough fight. For me, Islam is the favorite. I think that he's the more skilled, more experienced, stronger fighter. He has a solid game. I don't see many flaws. I almost no flaw in his game, so it's hard not to have him as a favorite. But Ian is very talented. I think that he wants, his desire to be a champion is very high. So I think that he's gonna go in there and uh, give his best. So I do think that he can pull off an upset, but I don't I wouldn't put like a big percentage in that. So I do think that he can get the win, but I would put definite favorite for Islam Makhachev.
What about the co-main event? Mackenzie, Dern, and Gillian Robertson. Who's winning the women's title?
Man, I'm gonna. I think Mackenzie is really skilled, and even when a fight becomes hard, she finds a way to win. So I'm gonna keep it in Mackenzie.
I was going to ask, because obviously you're from New Jersey originally. Are you going to have any family come up for this? I know obviously your family's all over the place, but you got any people coming out
Yeah.
for the fight?
I might have my uncle and aunt go over there, but I'm not sure yet.
Mhm.
But I might, yeah.
Yeah, because it's like I think I did a quick Google search. I think it's like an hour or something, hour and a half
Yeah,
to get
yeah,
out
it's a
there. So,
close drive,
yeah,
very
so
close
that
drive.
that's a nice benefit of this card too. Maybe have some family there. And you kind of talked about the weight cut and moving up to middleweight. Do you feel like you've kind of got a new kind of gear in your career here? Like again, I'm sure there was points at welterweight where you're like, how much longer am I going to fight? Do you feel like getting that Gaslam win, and if all goes well here, do you kind of feel like you got a new life at middleweight here?
For sure. I mean, as an athlete, I think that I've I've always pursued chasing for the highest level that I can reach. That's always been my objective. I don't know how to, let's say, fight just, just to fight. I want to fight to be the best, and that's what was behind my decision moving to middleweight. I never had that decision as, okay, I'm tired of cutting weight. No, I want to perform the best. What do I have to do? Move a weight division. That's what's gonna make me perform best, and that's what we saw with the outcome with the Gaslam fight, and that's exactly my plan. My plan is to right now give all I got to have a run at this middleweight division, and my title has always been my goal, and it's not gonna stop being my goal.
Well said. And you got a couple more fights left on your contract. I was just wondering that because you've been in the UFC for a while. You mentioned it since you're 23.
I do think I have a few fights left,
Yeah.
but I'm not sure. I'm not sure right
Yeah.
now. But I do have more than one or two
Yeah,
left.
that the only reason I asked is because I know usually when you're on the last fight or close to the last fight, you usually renegotiate. And I would imagine with being at middleweight now, like I said, you got a whole new run in a new weight class, which is going to be a lot of fun. So
Yes.
looking forward to that. Hey, Vicente, thanks for doing this. Always good talking to you. If there's anyone you want to thank before we get out of here, any sponsors or any social media you want to mention, I'll give you the last word.
Oh, just thank everybody that supports me, especially, the fans that are always have my back, that support, that are loyal, regardless of the outcome. Those are the really special fans, and all my family, all my friends over here, everybody here from Florida, the family that I've built here in Florida, and a lot of special people, Gregory, Gilbert, and so many more people, from our church, and yeah, just thank the support of everybody. At the end of the day, what I'm doing is to impact in a positive way everybody around me, and everybody that watches me. So yeah, I could not be more grateful for the career I've had till now and for what's gonna come. And yeah, let's go out there and put on a big show. And I'm gonna be there, counting on everybody to be cheering for me and watching my fight.